Hi everyone, this is Revolution Ricky here in my house and in my office at Casa de Revolution, here to do episode 8 of Ricky's Scavenger Hunt. I've accumulated some stuff over the past couple of weeks and I'm going to show you all what I got. But before I do, if you would please hit like and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Well, without further ado, I'm going to show you all what I got. I accumulated some 45s and a book and some CDs. I'm going to show off the book first. This book I've already read, but I wanted an updated version of it. And the writer of this book is no longer with us. He passed away a few years back. And it's to stick with the theme from yesterday's video. It's by Richard Cole, who is the road manager for Led Zeppelin, and he was with Led Zeppelin through their touring years, the recordings of their albums, and it's a good book. And I've read it already. When the mass market paperback came out, I bought it. I think I don't remember where I bought it from. I think I bought it from Walmart or a grocery store that's no longer in business called Food World. I really don't remember, but it's an updated copy of Stairway to Heaven Uncensored. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin Uncensored. Richard Cole, who wrote the book, was the tour manager of Led Zeppelin through their touring years, and was there from the famous shark incident, was there when Led Zeppelin got robbed of all that money in the plaza in New York. He wrote this book, and it's a revised version. You know, it has more about what was going on after John Bonham had passed away, the solo careers of all three surviving members, and I really like it. I don't know, I think Led Zeppelin the surviving members panned the book, especially Robert Plant. I don't really remember, but I just take it with a grain of salt. But you know, it is a very good biography about Led Zeppelin and their touring years, recording of the albums, their debauchery. You know, I really love Led Zeppelin, and I really love the whatever I can get my hands on, especially rock bios, because I'm really into rock biographies. I've read The Dirt by Motley Crue, which, oh boy, that one took they made a movie about it several years ago, and I always said if it was done word for word on, they filmed a movie like that, it would not be on Netflix, it would be on an adult website, because Motley Crue took debauchery up to 11, or whatever you want to, what number you want to call it. But I would highly recommend this book. Like I said, I have the mass paperback copy of it, and the only thing I have an issue with is the pictures in it, because it looks like they came off a Xerox machine, but they probably did. But the other ones in the mass paperback version are a lot more glossier, and I like those better. But I had let my mom read that book, and I never saw it again because I would not tell you where it's at. But I got this updated copy, and I would highly recommend Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin Uncensored. Highly recommend it. Okay, now for the CDs. I showed a few of these CDs off in my Led Zeppelin video, but I'm going to go ahead and show them off again because it's a scavenger hunt. But this CD I got yesterday in the mail, or no, the other day in the mail, and my sister had given it to me for my birthday one year and then took it back, and I never saw it again. Usually when I lent her something, like my Robert Plant cassette, she would borrow it and I would never see it again. But then again, I took her Metallica and Justice for All album and she never saw it again. So I guess you could call it an even trade, but I'd rather have had my Robert Plant cassette back. And this is to kind of stick with the theme of blues music, because I really do love the blues. It's Jimi Hendrix Blues compilation album. I love this album because it kind of introduced me to more of the blues music that Jimi Hendrix was doing. Of course, you know, that basically was his career. He was a great blues musician, even though he was from Seattle, Washington. And he was influenced by so many artists like Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, B.B. King, Robert Lockwood Jr., which is the stepson of Robert Johnson, Chuck Berry, Ike Turner, all sorts of great names in blues that you would listen to. Elmore James. I mean, here's some of the photos of it. And it has great blues classics, you know, like maybe some demos or something like that. But it's a compilation album. You know, it's got here, you know, Hear My Train Coming, acoustic, Born Under a Bad Sign, Red House, which is on, I think on his Are You Experienced album, or Electric Ladyland. Oh, I can't remember. Catfish Blues, Voodoo Child Blues, which, you know, Voodoo Child is, you know, one of his famous songs with a great guitar riff coming intro into it. Manish Boy, I Once Had a Woman, Bleeding Heart, Jam 292, Electric Church, Red House, Hear My Train Comin', Electric. It's a great blues CD. Anybody who loves the blues, especially Jimi Hendrix, I would highly recommend this. And to my sister, you're not getting this one. That puppy's mine. In fact, I got proof that I bought it. And then, of course, stick with the theme. The other day, I showed off the other CDs from my Led Zeppelin collection, but I'm going to go ahead and show this off because it is a scavenger hunt. And I bought these very relatively cheap. Coverdale Page from their 1993 album. The only one that Jimmy Page and David Coverdale played on. Great album. You know, it's got the songs Pride and Joy, Shake My Tree, Feeling Hot, Don't Leave Me That Way. You know, this album, you know, I have the cassette of it somewhere. But I really love the album Coverdale Page. You know, David Coverdale kind of sounds a little bit like Robert Plant when he sings. You know, it has that soulful hard rock voice that he had from Whitesnake, and of course Jimmy Page, who was in Led Zeppelin. And it doesn't have any photos of the band of Coverdale Page. At least I don't think it does. I mean, I haven't opened it that much. In fact, I haven't played it at all. And here's some of the lyrics. Live TV. I really love David Coverdale. I love Whitesnake. I just wish David Coverdale was making albums instead of not wanting to retire. But then again, I understand he's been doing this for well over 50 years. Maybe even 60 years. And there's times you gotta let the new generation of hard rock and metal and blues rock take hold. But I highly recommend this one. And of course, Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes live at the Greek. Black Crowes doing the classic Zepp out songs like Celebration Day, Custard Pie, what is and what you'll never be, In My Time of Dying, the Lemon Song, Nobody's Fault But Mine, Heartbreaker, Shake Your Moneymaker, of course, Oh La La Love, I can't see anything else that sticks out. Shape of Things to Come. I don't know if that's from Yardbirds or if Black Crowes are doing an original song. I haven't listened to much of this CD at all, but I'm going to listen to it later. So that's a good CD, and it's a good live album. Like I said, live albums are hit and miss with me. And of course, this Led Zeppelin tribute album that I showed off yesterday, I'm not even going to open it. It's Incorium, Led Zeppelin tribute. It has a bunch of artists from the 90s doing their version of Led Zeppelin tracks, like Hootie and the Blowfish, Sheryl Crow, Rollins Band, Four Non Blondes, Blind Melon, Duran Duran, Robert Plant and Tori Amos doing the song. I wish they would have, but at the time, that band was not on radio play because grunge music and alternative music was already in at that point. I wish they would have added to this album the rendition of the Great White Song of the Led Zeppelin classic, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. I wish they would have added this to that album. And there's been Led Zeppelin tribute albums before. And as a matter of fact, Great White did do a couple of Led Zeppelin tribute albums. They did one, I believe, that was live, and the other one that was featured Jack Russell's Great White, because the band kind of split off into two separate entities. And I had really, despite what had happened years ago with the tragedy of the club fire that Great White was involved with, I really liked Great White. I only had one album, which was Twice Shy, and the only song I knew besides Once Bitten, Twice Shy that they did was Rock Me. And after they had done the Led Zeppelin classic, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, I thought it was a great rendition. In fact, it made me go back to Led Zeppelin 1 to listen to the other song, the original version, and I like the original version better than I do the Great White one. Although the Great White one I thought was fantastic, you can never dispute the original. And it's a shame that what had happened at the club fire, and it's a shame that Jack Russell is no longer with us. But this is a great tribute album, and I would highly recommend it. It came out. When did it come out? I think it came out in 94, 93, 94. I'm not real 100% sure on when it did. Let's see. I'd have to look it up. And, my memory is not very good when it comes to knowing when it came out. All I know is it's a great tribute album, and it varies from song to song. I do like Four Non Blondes. I thought the Four Non Blondes was a great group. I do like Sheryl Crow a little bit. Hootie and the Blowfish, but I do like Hootie and the Blowfish. Stone Temple Pilots is a great song, a great group when it was. Blind Melon, Rollins Band, I like Henry Rollins. I thought what he did with the Crow soundtrack was great. Yeah, but I really do recommend that tribute album. And of course, the Led Zeppelin album, tongue twister, excuse me, live TV. The Led Zeppelin album I did pick up at the record store was In Through the Outdoor. Of course, I've showed this off the other day. And of course, I like that tattoo. And a couple of friends of mine, Michael, there were two guys. I was friends with both of them in high school. They got tattoos of this. And I thought it was very cool. I mean, I'm only got one tattoo, and I'm keeping it at one. But if I had to choose, it would be that. Just to pay tribute to a friend who, my friend Mike Seals, who's no longer with us, passed away some years back. And my friend Michael, who I went to see Judas Priest with a couple times, once in 2024 when I was on the mend from my foot surgery, and then last year when we went to see Judas Priest and Alice Cooper co-headline in Mississippi. Returned the favor. I've known him for about 45 years, maybe a lot longer. I think we met in 1979. We were like 8 or 9 years old, and we used to trade comic books back and forth, have a little war about that. If I buy one, he'd buy two. If I buy two, he'd buy four. And if I buy 10, I don't know what he bought. But we always had a friendly little competition. Nothing serious, but, he got a tattoo of this Led Zeppelin emblem. And I always liked Led Zeppelin. Okay, speaking of which, gotta find it first. I did, however, accumulate one tiny itty bitty record. This is probably gonna make my friend Michael say, "What are you thinking?" And I did play it on my regular record player, but I only played half a song. I was like, oh my gosh, half a song, and it stopped. And it kept going on and on and on. And it played, but it only played half a song. But it was only like $5. I was like, I could spare it. It's probably going to say, are you out of your mind? Why? But then again, something like this, back in the day when I was like 13 or 14, they would release album covers in the candy aisle. And then there would be a thing of chewing gum in the shape of a record. So this is kind of what reminds me of that. A thing of chewing gum, and then you get a collectible record cover. Anyway, it's Dolly Parton and Motley Crue, Home Sweet Home. I bought the record album from the beginning, and it has this song on there, but I figured why not. And I think I got at the time that the new Rolling Stones album came out, and there's that, and I'll show off the record, and it comes in its own little record sleeve, and here's the record. There's that, and of course side 2 has the original track on here. My friend Michael's probably going, why in the world did you buy that? But then again, he probably wouldn't. I mean, I don't know if it's like a passing fad. I really don't mind it. I mean, they're selling records like this and selling mini record players, but why bother? I think it's just a passing fad. Maybe I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But, it has the Dolly Parton version with Motley Crue of Home Sweet Home, and the original version, which came out 40 years ago. And it blasted on MTV a lot. So there's that little doohickey. And of course, my 45s. Now, some of these I might have shown off. I really don't remember. I'll decide later, but I think I've already shown this one off. The Traits with Harlem Shuffle. I think I did show this one off. I don't remember what I accumulated. But I'm showing it off again, just in case. Boston's More Than a Feeling, and back with Smokin'. I love Boston. I do remember I showed off Joan Jett and the Black Hearts. Okay, now these are probably the 45s. Okay. I couldn't really remember. I guess what I'll do is keep them out of sleeves. That way I'll know that I bought some. Anyway, I got this one, and it's a British copy of this song. I'm not really a big fan of this group, but they are influential. It's a Britain pressing of Get Ready and My Girl, which My Girl is a great song and has that little thing in between it. So I'm not going to punch it out. And I like stuff like this from overseas. This one is Billy J. Kramer and with the Dakotas. A British pressing on Parlophone. I'll Be On My Way. And Do You Want to Know a Secret? Which I listened to and it was okay. It was only like maybe $5. It's from the 1960s. Oh boy. Let's see. I don't know if I showed this one off or not, but B.B. King, The Thrill Is Gone, backed with So Excited. Very good blues song by B.B. King. I really do like that one. Another one from the Temptations. This came out in 1970. Just My Imagination. Backed with You Make Your Own Heaven and Hell Right Here on Earth. I think Ronnie James Dio came up with that motto. Very good copy. I'm not really a big Temptations fan, but I figured why not? Since I got one more, I might as well add to the collection, even though back in school, when I went to elementary school, my elementary teacher used to play the Temptations Christmas album, and was not a big fan of it at all. I did not become a big fan of Christmas music. I mean, I was okay with Christmas carols when you sing them, when people go caroling. But the only big Christmas album I loved at the time was Twisted Sisters, A Twisted Christmas, which I kind of had Twisted Sisters, Twisted Christmas live in Las Vegas that I kind of torture my wife with every year to play it. And every year I go on my Facebook page, oh, it's almost time. The Moody Blues, It's Easy Child with Go Now from Europe, from Decca. This one. Another European pressing from London. This one's kind of scratched up all. You know what? Johnny and the Hurricanes, Time Bomb, backed with the Revel Rock. or whichever. I don't know. Okay, it's Time Bomb. All these were relatively cheap. Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son. Backed with questions of my childhood. I always did like Kansas. Very good group. Never really got the recognition they did from the mid-70s rock music, but they are a great band, and I really do like them. In fact, I think one of the members of the group lives in Florida, right near, I think, not Gainesville, but, gosh, what's that? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's near, around the beach, maybe Pensacola Beach in Florida or somewhere, or Destin, Florida, I believe. I can't remember, but I always did like Kansas. And this one, this one's American Pressing. I think it's from the Stones album, or let's see. There's Satanic Majesty's Request from the Rolling Stones. She's a Rainbow. Backed with 2,000 Light Years from Home. I really love the Rolling Stones. Been getting into their music a lot. Been trying to get my collection of Rolling Stones CDs and albums going. I mean, I'm not going to buy all the Rolling Stone vinyl, but I'm going to buy what I like. And I got a few more I need to get on CD. But anyway, I think that does it for me. I just wanted to come on here and show you all what I got. And I'll be accumulating more later on. I'll probably have to go have my tooth looked at because it's causing me some problems. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I just wanted to show you all what I got. I don't remember if I showed off this prior, but I do remember I showed off the stuff, the CD stuff, in prior video, except for the Jimi Hendrix CD and except for this mini record of Home Sweet Home with Motley Crue and Dolly Parton. But, you know, excuse me, a little bit of a dry throat. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. This is Revolution Ricky signing off. As I always say, keep spitting that vinyl and the CDs. And I shall see you all again in the next video. Peace.